Good to have you with us. You're watching the news. I'm Avni Raja. We're making a start here with the new law that's been notified by the centre with regard to abortion rules. Now, under this, the gestational limit for the medical termination of pregnancy has been increased from 20 to 24 weeks. In fact, this rule is applicable only for certain categories of women. What exactly are these categories and what these new rules really say? Let me go across to my colleague Gauri, who's joining me. Gauri, if you can take us through the categories of women this would be applicable to when we're talking about medical termination of pregnancy now being allowed until 24 weeks.
Yeah, that's right, Avni. So this particular amendment that we are talking about, that notification was long awaited, and Mirror now has been raising this particular issue and the need to revamp the abortion law since long now. And finally, it has been notified. Let me take our viewers through the details of this amendment and the new rules, what exactly it entails. In fact, the new abortion rule says that survivors of sexual assault, rape or incest are going to benefit from these new rules. And also another category involved and has been included in this particular rule is minors. Another important thing is that women whose marital status changes during pregnancy, for example, they go through a divorce or say loss of life of husband, then those women also are included in this particular rule. And women with physical disabilities have also been included as a category. Another category that has been included is women with mental disabilities. So this is also one significant step. Women pregnant during the disaster or emergency situations have also been included as a category on which these new rules will be applicable. And the seventh category, beg your pardon, those were the six categories that we were talking about regarding this new rule. And in fact, the role of medical board, this is also one important point that has been highlighted in these new rules notified by centre. One important point is that to decide on allowing abortion post 24 weeks in special cases. The second point, of course, is to examine reports of pregnant women seeking abortion. Third point is that they have the power to reject abortion within 3 days of request. And fourth point is to ensure abortion carried out with all the safety precautions so that the life of the mother is not endangered in any which way. Also, another important point and responsibility is that to counsel women within 5 days of receiving abortion request. This is also a duty and a responsibility that has been assigned to the medical board.
Yes, absolutely, Gauri. Thank you so much for taking us through all of those details. This, of course, comes as a welcome move in terms of much-awaited changes that were needed. But let's bring in some more perspective here. Dr. Nandita Palsekar, gynecologist, is joining us at this point in time. Thank you so much, Dr. Nandita, for joining us. First off, your reaction to these changes that have come in. This, of course, was much needed in terms of, the progressiveness of the abortion laws in the country.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Nandita, is my voice reaching you?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think, Avni, it's a great relief for all of us and for the women. I think it's a kind of a freedom for women of our country, and it must be applauded that our country is really very proactive in taking care of its women, because these were really difficult situations that we gynecologists were dealing with, with children born with problems, and the sonography is diagnosing them a little late, especially the cardiac anomalies, etc. And then women who did not even realize, I've been working in the public sector, and sometimes we used to get girls who did not even realize they were pregnant till they were about 6 months or something, and they were abused. And so I think this is a fantastic thing for these kind of girls, where it will help them. And then, the doctors also don't need another person to corroborate it. The medical board itself is just enough, especially if the girl is beyond 24 weeks. Up to 24 weeks, we have the right to do it. I think it's a beautiful and a phenomenal change that has liberated all the women for us to deliver to them a very good service.
Yes, absolutely, Dr. Nandita. So this is, of course, like you also said, a very welcome move at this point in time. But now talking about what's still further required, because one aspect is the implementation of any kind of law, which tends to become a problem, and especially when we're talking about something that's as crucial as medical termination of pregnancy, the implementation of carrying that through, going through all of that, the psychological impact, all of that, being able to, for a woman to actually go through that, is that sufficiently being done, or do we have the capability to have the resources for all of that to be done in a proper manner?
I think, Avni, you've raised a very, very valid point, because we are 40,000 gynecologists who are registered under our organization. I was the president in 2019, and our organization is very, very strong, and we take it upon. In fact, I was one of the people who was called, for forming these rules and regulations. Our organization was involved. It all started when I was the president, and we formed these SOPs and the medical boards and how they were formed. So we are going to play a very important role, and I think you are also going to play a very important role, because this awareness is advocacy is what we need, and we need to spread this advocacy. So we have a lot of the government has a lot of programs. Our organization Foxy has a lot of programs, and we have organizations. We are, like, we have 260 societies in each cities of all over, spread all across India, and this information will be distributed to all our gynecologists. So I think it is going to spread like wildfire, and that is what we aim to do, because we've been waiting for it for a long time. And anything that needs to be spread, I think it's all about. And today, the COVID world, it's actually virtual world. It's a pandemic challenge virtual world, I call it. And it's so much easier to reach out to our doctors in remote places, because all of them are virtually connected. So we'll have a lot of CMEs. We'll reach out to all our people and inform them about this. So, CMEs, a lot of training programs,
Right.
etc., etc.
Yes, absolutely. So all of that is going to be extremely crucial. Let me also bring in Brinda Adige, women's rights activist, who's also joining us here on the phone line. Thank you very much, Brinda, for joining us. Like we were talking about, this, of course, is a welcome move and perhaps something that has been long pending. But in terms of the actual implementation, in terms of what else is further required to make the laws more progressive, what is your perspective?
Yeah, like you mentioned, yes, this is a welcome move. And for too long, the state government and the healthcare professionals have not been held accountable for not giving this healthcare to women. Abortion services continue to remain a challenge. But some of the worrying points in this particular change of law is a state board. So what about the districts? What about the taluks? Which means it's going to again get delayed, and it's going to be a very tedious process for women who may not be in the city. Secondly, there is a mention of women with mental disabilities. Now, women with mental disabilities, who is going to decide for this woman? Because we continuously say that it is a choice that a woman makes. It is a choice that the survivor, the victim, sexual abuse, rape survivor makes. So when we talk of mental disabilities, that is a worrying point, because we also know that many women are pushed to go in for abortions if they have girl babies. And irrespective of what the law is talking about, we also know that scanning happens rampantly for sex determination. So while I'm very happy with this amendment to the law, with this progressive stance that the government has taken, we must ask ourselves, is the government and the healthcare professionals extending all the support to the woman to make this decision? What about post-care? Because they said that in the first 5 days we must get the woman to be counseled. But what happens later on? Because we know that women in general going through abortions suffer even after that. What is the kind of support that the government and the hospitals, healthcare professionals are going to give? Even today, there is no counseling facilities in hospitals. So these are major concerns, even though we talk of this being a very progressive one. We also must ask the question of what the courts will do if they continue to delay matters which might come to some kind of a decision that is not being made, and it comes to court. Why are we not holding the court responsible? Within what specified time will they give their decisions? All of these are concerns. While I'm very happy with the amended abortion rules, let's remember that women must have the first choice to be made in these issues, provided all the available support care is given to them.
Yes, absolutely, Brinda Arige. In fact, what you've raised are extremely pertinent points with respect to this entire issue, and possibly something that needs further looking into as well. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your perspective, and Dr. Nandita as well. Thank you for speaking to us.